So we are writing a personal narrative. We're going to be turning that in on October 9th. And the first thing we did was we watched The Bad Haircut, which is a video. The link to it is here. It's a 5-minute, really good personal narrative by Alfonso Lacayo, and the transcript is here. And one of the reasons I really like this narrative is because Lacayo takes a very simple event, having his cousin cut his hair, and he really turns it into a rich, entertaining story. And so I think by learning some of the techniques that Lacayo uses in his story, we can write a full, rich, entertaining story as well. So first you want to watch the video. You can read along with the transcript if you want. And the next step, this is something we did in class, so I'm just going to show you what we came up with in class. We generated the plot arc. Now we're doing this with this story, we're doing this with Coyote Dream, because eventually we're going to apply what we've learned about plot arc in storytelling to our own story. So we practiced this one together. Everyone did their Coyote Dream kind of on their own, and now and then we're going to be doing our own plot arc for our own story. So this is the basic plot arc. Lacayo needs a haircut. He's at his cousin's house playing video games. His older cousin says he can cut his hair for free. They go into the garage and his cousin works on his hair with clippers for 25 minutes, which is a really long time. A little foreshadowing there. When Lacayo returns to the living room, his other cousin laughs hysterically, and Lacayo sees himself in the mirror and the whole front of his hair is shaved. His mother tells him he should have waited, and he goes to school and looks funny for the first couple of weeks. He never trusts his cousin again. And so once we've got that plot sketched out, then we just take these elements, copy and paste them in here so we have the summary to refer to. The next step is to look at some of the narrative elements that Lacayo uses here, some of the narrative techniques. One is really key in a personal narrative. You have to have undergone some kind of change. It can be a small, subtle change. It doesn't have to be a huge, dramatic change. In this case, he learns to never trust his cousin again. The second narrative element that is really important is setting. Where and when. So he's between it's the summer after 4th grade and before 5th grade, so we know that. And we know where it is, the garage, and it's dark and gloomy, and it's not really an ideal place to get your hair cut. So that gives us some foreshadowing too. So do we have internal dialogue here, or we have dialogue between characters? And we decided as a class that the dialogue here was between the characters, between he and his cousin. Figurative language. In this case, he uses a metaphor. He says his forehead, or a simile, he says his forehead is like a mirror. You could see your own reflection. Something we talked about in our Native American unit, this idea of 5 senses details. And one detail we found that he used in this was this buzz, the onomatopoeia, the sound of that. There's others in there. He certainly sees his reflection. He kind of smells and the dust, choking on the dust in the garage. There's others in there. Voice. So we want an authentic voice in our personal narrative. And he does that here by using humor. He uses slang, and it's really informal. You feel like he's talking directly to you. And the last is the theme. What's the overall message of the story? And I always say you can fill in this sentence. This story is about, and we decided as a class this was about patience, because his mom says at the end, hey, if you just waited, I would have gotten you a haircut. All right? So the next step that we did was to start our own personal narrative assignment. And this is going to be in the next tutorial.